I think it's really, really important to fall in love with the feeling of like, does this feel good to me? Because it feels good to you. That's a special feeling. And then you can just ride off of that.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Headliner Mindset Podcast. Today's guest is an artist that I truly love and respect. Someone who isn't chasing trends and numbers, but is really chasing that beautiful, emotional feeling that a really good song can give you. And that has led him to some pretty amazing wins, including releasing on Son Holo's label Bitbird, releasing an EP with Disco Lines, and also recently playing his debut at Red Rocks. He is also one of the hardest working people in showbiz, as you will soon find out. This is Wes Mills. My man, welcome to the show, bro. It is so good to see you. I'm so excited to dive in with you because, you are one of the many people that I had the privilege of getting to teach and work with, way back in the day, working at Icon Collective. And it's been, I don't know how many years since I've seen you. And so just really pumped to catch up and kind of fill in the gaps on what you've been up to. First and foremost, bro, I am such a fan. Like I've been a fan. Like I've always loved the stuff that you've been making, the music you've been making, also the content that you put out. So I'm just excited to talk to an artist that I'm genuinely like a really true fan of. So thank you for taking the time to be here today, and excited to dive in with you.
Dude, thank you. I really appreciate what you said. And I'm excited to talk to you too.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, this is one of my favorite kind of interviews to have because oftentimes, I've had really, I think it was like over 1,000 students that I worked with during my 7 years at Icon Collective. So many people that came through that program. And every now and then it's like I open up my Instagram and then I'm like, oh, you're playing Lost Lands now, or you're fucking, playing Coachella or whatever. For you just recently played Red Rocks, I think, like 1 or 2 weeks ago. First off, congratulations on that. Obviously, such a huge milestone moment, I think, in most people's careers, getting to play that epic venue. So I would really love to kind of like fill in the gaps of like, all right, 1 minute you're a student at Icon Collective learning music production. The next minute you're playing Red Rocks. All right. How did we get there? So take me back to when you went to Icon. What year was that you went there and when you graduated?
Yeah. I believe it was in like the middle of 2018. Okay. And I finished in 2019.
Got it. And then did you stay in LA when you graduated? Are you still out there? Or
no,
what did you do after Icon?
I'll kind of set it up. So I lived in Orange County, so I would make that commute every time. And I chose the night class, so it started at the time like 10 o'clock and it finished late. So it was nice traffic-wise, because I think if I did any other class, it would be brutal.
Bro, so, let me just point out how much dedication that is right there, driving an hour each direction and going to class at night. Like, that's, first off, let's just highlight the fucking commitment, the sacrifice that you were willing to make to do that. That says a lot.
Yeah, man, I think at the end of the day, like, once I realized this is what I wanted to do, like, all the extra stuff went out the window, and I was just purely focused on that. But yeah, to answer your first question, like I remember showing up to Icon on the very first day and being scared out of my mind just because I had never really dove into music. Like my friend helped me make demos just to get into Icon because I didn't know how to make music. I remember on the very first day of Icon, I think it was PD talking about like how we put an EQ in Ableton, and because it's, they start from the basics, Ableton 101. And so let's throw an EQ on this. And I remember raising my hand. I'll never forget. I was like, hey, what is an EQ? And I remember the whole class like turning around and being like, who is this? And how did he get in here?
Damn, bro. You were at ground zero when you started.
Zero.
Yeah. Wow.
But I remember my friend trying to teach me stuff before I went. And I said, I don't really want to know because I don't want to create bad habits, because I thought so highly of the school. And I just wanted to I wanted them to be the foundation of what I learned and just go up from there. So I think I was just really, really hungry going in.
Yeah. take it back one step further. Like, what made you so clear that this was the path that you wanted to go down? You hadn't really even started producing yet, but you were like, I want to fucking do this, and you really committed yourself to it. Where did that decision and that commitment come from in the first place?
I saw a Chainsmokers concert like a year before, and I said, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know how they're doing it, but I want to do that, and I'm
Wow.
gonna find every way possible to figure out how to do that. So I wasn't even in the music realm like at all. I played sports my whole life. I played college baseball. Like I was not into EDM whatsoever, but I just started to ask around and kind of found a friend through a friend who found I found out about Icon. It was just really organic. It was never really forced, and I have no idea how it all happened. It's really crazy.
Tell me more about that moment when you were like in the crowd, just watching them do it. Like, what actually was happening in your mind, in your body? I'm always so curious to know about like the moment that decision is made, almost from like a divine orchestration place, you know? But what happened in that moment? Because that's a pretty powerful, pivotal moment in your life.
Absolutely. I feel like it's one of the best days of my life just because of the feeling I got. I think they were playing like their new album at the time. I think it was like the album that had like Paris on it, and they were like debuting this new music. I just remember, them saying this is new music, and them being up on stage and the fire going off, and I was just like, man, like that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. I just thought it was
Yeah.
so cool,
Yeah.
and I think like just my whole life I always just wanted to do something big and just like want to do something really fun and something that I really wanted to enjoy. And at that time, coming fresh out of college, I'm like, I want to do this. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I'm like, I want to do this. I want to
Yeah,
do this.
yeah, yeah. You're like, I know I don't want to sit in a fucking cubicle all day, like staring
No,
at
no, no,
spreadsheets,
no,
right?
no, 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 no,
Yeah,
no, no, no.
I get that, man.
And playing sports, I was just always out, so I just wanted to do something,
Yeah,
that was out and about, and
yeah.
it's really crazy how that one moment like really shifted my whole entire mindset forever.
That's so cool, bro. So cool,
Yeah,
man. Well, thanks for sharing that. Now, you go to Icon and you spend like a year there, right? I think it was just a year program at that time. And then obviously, 1 year is not really enough to get good at making music, especially when you're starting from ground zero. So,
yeah.
what did life look like for you post Icon?
I remember going back and talking to a teacher after I finished because now I'm like, okay, like you said, what do I do now? And
Yeah.
I remember like, okay, so what do I do next? Like, who do I talk to? What do I do? And then I remember him just saying, just make great music and just be you and just kind of just go. And I think for anyone, like that sounds so cliche, and anyone who's listening, it's like, I know that like that's so much easier said than done, but like I really truthfully like felt like I dug deep at the time and was like, I just want to be myself, and if I'm not enough, then I'm not enough. So I'm just gonna try and be like the best version of me, with the way I create and the way I create music, create content, create music. So I think COVID was big too because obviously wasn't working, so I was just at home and I just went like crazy during that time.
Mm.
And then that's kind of during that time is when I thought about starting the Wes Mills project during COVID.
Yeah. Honestly, man, I think that's some of the best advice that anybody has given on this podcast and really broken down into the most simple way possible. But make great music and be you, right? Because a lot of people are so caught up in figuring out like what's the strategy, what's the content strategy to blow up to get myself famous and successful, and it's like, yo,
Yeah,
come back, like make great music. And that's why I love you, and that's why I was so excited to connect, because I was just in, speaking of Red Rocks, I was just at Red Rocks a few weeks ago. I did a little snowboarding trip. I was
yeah,
cruising around with my girlfriend, and I don't know, for whatever reason I was like, oh, you got to check out this guy from Icon, like he's fucking sick, like this music is dope. And we were just like cruising through the mountains listening to your music, and I was like, it's so good. The music is fucking good. It makes me feel good and happy, and I'm just like, yeah, this is good shit. That's where it's got to start. It's like if
yeah,
you don't have that, none of the rest of it matters. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
so make great music, and you obviously really put time into figuring out how to make great music, and definitely want to talk about quote unquote the brand as well. But
yeah,
that part of just like being you really are just being authentic in that side of it as well.
yeah.
Um, But okay, so you took that advice and what did you do with it?
Well, I like I was just kind of telling you, it was more of a mentality shift from there. I was like, okay, like what do I got to do to just be undeniable? And I still tell myself that to this day. Like if you want to be who you want to be, then you just have to be that guy. Put all excuses aside. And so I during icon or during COVID, I just really like focused on that, focused on making music. And then the label Bitbird had like a compilation that they were doing, and I signed up and I did that.
And that was as Wes Mills. That was like when you just launched the Wes Mills
Correct. So
project.
I hadn't released anything. I hadn't released anything yet. Actually, I had released. I had released 2 songs before that actually, but they were it was just independent.
How long were you making music from when you started at Icon to when you really actually started this project and started releasing music under Wes Mills?
So probably about like a year and a half.
Okay, yeah, really not that
Yeah.
long actually. Then like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
really
I
like
actually
went all in.
I had a project before West Mills that like
Yeah,
about like a year project, and then
but
I just
you had only been making music for about a year and a half before you launched
yeah
this project. Yeah,
yeah
that's pretty impressive, because I feel like it usually takes a lot longer for most artists. So
yeah.
you were really getting after it on the production side of things.
I was trying. Yes, I was trying,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it also helped because I went to school with who is now my wife, and so during that time of COVID, we were like totally helping each other, and I wouldn't be where I am without her because we just were together, just bouncing ideas off each other constantly.
You went to Icon with your
Yeah.
wife.
Yes.
Who's your wife?
My wife. Her name is Diane, but her artist name is Willow Wild.
Oh hell yeah! Shout out Diane, dude. I okay. I'm having my mind blown right now. I had no idea that you guys were married, man. Well, congratulations on that. That's so rad.
I mean,
What a cool
I can't leave that.
partnership.
I can't leave that
Yeah,
piece out. That's a
yeah,
huge piece.
dude.
And I think for the longest time we tried to kind of keep it really separated, just because we wanted to have our own identities, and we felt like we weren't, our projects weren't there yet to really like be out there with it. Overthinking it, really probably not a
Yeah,
big deal.
yeah.
Now I fully embrace it because that I'm not where I am without her. Period.
How has she supported you in growing this project and just being a part of your life in the process?
Yeah, I think especially early when you're coming up, you have so many questions, and you're overthinking everything. You're wanting to, what should I do with this? How should I do this? It could be something as simple as posting. When I post this, what should I do for the caption? And
Yeah,
like through the years, I just have felt us grow so much in the way of like we just talked about a few minutes ago. Like it doesn't matter. Just be yourself. Share your life with people. Share your music with people. So like through that, I feel like the communication, the connection that we've had, and the growth that we've had together has allowed us to really like understand. And I feel like I'm so excited to keep going and understand
yeah.
even more. So
Wow, that is
yeah.
so cool. First off, shout out Icon Collective for bringing people together and matchmaking. I wonder if there's any other married couples that have come out of Icon. I feel like there's got to be a couple others. Super cool, but also I love that having that person next to you to, when we get in our heads and we start second guessing
Yeah.
or overthinking or whatever, it's just like having somebody that also really gets it to be a support system for you and be a different voice to kind of combat some of those other voices that we have. I think that's incredible.
Absolutely.
And it really brings up something that I'd like to talk about more on this podcast, because there oftentimes is this mindset with artists that I can't be in a relationship because I have to be 100% dedicated to my music and to my craft. And I think it's funny because when I look back at so many of the artists that I know that are massive, I'm talking, Slander, Sullivan King, Jaws, like, all these dudes, they had girlfriends for 10 years. They were with a partner, which I think it's really incredible to have that support system as you're chasing your dream. If you're with the right person, they're not going to be a distraction. They're going to be somebody that's like in your corner to help you and to support you, and like, I feel so
Absolutely.
blessed that I have a partner now when I'm like, yo, my life, I'm like, I am succeeding so much more with somebody in my corner because you're not doing it alone. So really seeing
Yeah.
things from that perspective of like partnership, it's so for anyone out there that's struggling, that's like, oh, I don't have time for a partner. It's like, honestly, man, maybe having a partner could be one of the best things for you because you're
Yeah.
not just spinning your wheels by yourself all the time. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
that.
I
Okay,
agree.
so you had that Son Holo's label, Bitbird,
Yeah.
right? You got on a compilation for that. That was
Yeah.
kind of the launch of the Wes Mills project. And then where did things go from there?
So from there, I just reached out to Thorwald, who kind of runs Bitbird, and because he was like on the email string, obviously I knew who he was, but I didn't know him personally. So I just reached out, I think via email, and said, "Hey, can I send you music?" And then he sent me his WhatsApp, and he said, "Yo, like, yes, send me music." And I remember at the time I didn't have a bunch of music. I just had one song that I really liked, and it was called Nintendo 64. So I sent it to him, and he ends up going, "Okay, I really like this." It was like one of those moments where I waited like a month. I didn't think he was gonna respond, but he ended up responding, and then he was like, let's do an EP out of this after I released that song." And I wasn't really like prepared, so I remember like piecing that project together, but I was feeding off of like just the feeling of that first song, and I just, yeah, I think there was four other songs or three other songs on that EP, and and they were all just kind of pieced together like month by month. If everything at that early stage, like I'm still, like you said, learning. It's only been like a year and a half, 2 years, and getting this opportunity to release an EP, and I think that's why that feeling at that time was so special, because it wasn't like super planned and well thought through. It was just like, this was really inspiring me right now. Let's just go with this feeling. Let's just go with this. Let's just go with this. And it's still probably my favorite project I put out.
Mm, mm. You're talking a lot about feeding the feeling.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that. It sounds like that's a big part of your creative process. Feeding the feeling. What does that actually mean and look like for you?
I think that is the thing for my creative process. Like, I would say there's people out there that are so much more talented producers than me. And when I get in studios with people, sometimes they often like get caught up in technicalities, and I love to have conversations with them. Not saying I'm better by any means, but just like, hey, like, let's just focus on how this feels. I think it's really, really important to fall in love with the feeling of like, does this feel good to me? Because it feels good to you. That's a special feeling, and then you can just ride off of that. I feel like that's also what like creates people's sound. I think that another like thing with sound gets really like caught up and mushy sometimes. Like, I'm trying to find my sound, or this is my sound, and it's like, dude, your sound is simply like what you love. If you love
Mm.
that snare, if you love that synth, if you love the way that sounds or feels, you're gonna probably oftentimes go back to something that feels like that. And over time, just ride on that, and like that naturally creates, I feel like, your sound.
Wow. Yeah, dude, that brings up a really great point. It's like everybody's looking for how do I find my sound? What about how do I find my feeling?
Yeah.
What's your feeling? What if we're chasing that
Yeah,
instead,
I mean, I
That's
agree. I mean, I remember, I don't do it as much anymore, but I used to like look up like old PS2 or Nintendo 64 visuals on YouTube and just watch it, and then be like, I want to create what that feels like to me.
mm,
Like,
mm.
what that fuzziness, what, oh, that feels like a fuzzy bass, or
Yeah.
the way he's grinding on that. Like, I don't know, that for me, I'm very visual, so like
Yeah.
that aesthetic, that old
Yeah.
aesthetic, really really like inspires me musically.
Yeah, in your Instagram bio, it says nostalgic dance music.
Yeah.
And so it's very clear that you have an inspiration for your sound, for your aesthetic, even for the feeling. I've also seen other people kind of try to do this and saying like because I've helped people build their brands and stuff, and this has come up before. Where like, oh, I want to have a nostalgia themed kind of brand. I feel like you have really just done that so well. I guess tell me where the inspiration for that came from, because it's so clearly felt in your brand and even in your sound too.
Thank you. I would say the biggest piece is I used to be a childhood actor when I was younger. I was on a
Oh, wow.
TV show called That's So Raven when I was a kid,
Oh,
and so
cool.
I was constantly around just actors, and I feel like I was like kind of forced to be like an adult at a young age just because that business is very like go go go, and because of that, I feel like as a kid you kind of have like a lot of like fuzzy memories, but I remember those memories were really really crystal clear just because I had to like lock in, and I think that like in turn really translated to my adulthood life where like I reflect a lot on those times even when I played sports during those times because I remember driving to LA with my dad leaving at 6 a.m. getting to LA getting home at like 7 p.m. and going straight to football practice like putting my pads on in the car and like that to me like I know not everyone has the best childhood but I was blessed to have really really good family around me and just wanted to give me the best childhood I can. So because of that, it really inspires me because that was such a special time in my life. Just being able to do a lot of really cool things.
Wow. How do you
Yeah.
feel like your background as a child actor and kind of coming up in the entertainment industry has influenced or affected your current career as a DJ and artist?
I think it's impacted it in a big, big way. Yeah, I think you're able to just cut through the noise a little bit quicker, see whose intentions are true, see who's
Mm,
some people are in it for the wrong reasons. And I'm never disrespectful, but it's just like I think it's really important to keep your circle tight, essentially, people who you trust around you, and
yeah.
just kind of like be you through that because it's really easy to get taken. Oh, like you should do this. This is super sick, or you should work with this person. This is super sick. You should do this. And I think it's like just like, do you want to do that? You go do that.
Mm. Yeah, man. Living in LA for 13 years and working in the industry as well, I noticed along the way it was kind of like your bullshit detector gets stronger. It's like you almost develop this sixth sense for how to read people and their intentions and just the people that are really like solid and grounded and authentic versus a little bit more, I don't know, frazzled and yeah, lost in the game and the chaos of all of it.
Yeah, I definitely think that my childhood helped me detect that for sure.
Yeah, yeah, man. Okay, so you got it's cool to hear that you got you really got some label support in the
Yeah,
beginning of the project.
yeah,
I imagine that probably helped to get some legs relatively quickly. Also, man, I mean, just to highlight and reflect, it's like you back to the music. It's like, well, you were making good music. You were following what feels good rather
yeah.
than what do I think I should be making? Like what's happening in the scene, Like a lot of people are studying the formula, like, okay, how does this work? Making music from the mind rather than making music from the heart and the soul and the energy and the feeling, which I just got to throw in as well. It's so clear and obvious when I see you in like your live shows, which I can't wait to attend someday, but it's like it's so clear that you're having a fucking blast up there. Like you're actually, like your head's not like buried in the G-Day decks. Like you're smiling, you're jumping, you're laughing. It's like that energy is infectious, and so the crowd is having fun. I think it's in the studio too when you're like I'm feeling something, I'm excited. There's a certain feeling I'm putting into this. That feeling is going to be felt on the other side, and so
Yeah.
just back to the energy and the feeling. It's so clear that like yeah you're tapped in, man. It's really cool to see.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I do have fun. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. So back to what we were saying as far as getting label support, you're making great music in the first place. There's an energy around it, there's a feeling around it. That energy and feeling is being felt by Bitbird, and you're starting to get recognized by labels. I imagine that probably helped you get a little more just attention and some momentum in your career versus probably just throwing out self releases. And I guess my question is, how did working with a label, support you in those early stages of your project?
Yeah. Tremendously. Bitbird, I to this day, like, I love every single one of them, they've helped me, and more importantly, they just believed in me, because I remember like asking to hop on Zoom calls because I wanted to explain what I wanted to do with the videos, or I wanted to do this, and they were always like, it wasn't just like a one person one-on-one convo. Sometimes you have that, and then they'll hear you out and go okay, but it was like they were bought in, like 6 of them, like listening. So at that time when I'm coming up, like when people believe in something, like it just feeds you. It really like helped me, because I felt like I was believed in from them, and
Yeah.
from there they brought me on San's tour, like through releasing with them. So that was
Oh,
really what,
sick.
like, I feel like kickstarted me to get out there through them.
Hell yeah, man. I mean, it's
Yeah.
such a beautiful part of DJ culture, right? Is just like putting the next generation on, getting, on people's labels, getting to have those opening, tour slots or whatever. So super cool that you created that opportunity for yourself. I'll say. Do you feel like also you're saying how they were really bought into you? I would imagine that you also had to have a level of conviction about yourself that got them to buy in and be as bought in as well. Do you feel like that was an element to it?
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. I oftentimes felt like crazy for some ideas that I would present, you know.
Yeah.
But then again, I was just like, just ride with it. If you think it's
Yeah.
cool, just do it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You're constantly
So
growing. Some of the things I did a few years ago, I'm like, I'm growing and doing something different now. But I think it's all part of it, which is really cool, because I was thinking differently then.
yeah. Yeah, 100%. 100%. And that's a great point, man. You like can you give me an example of how you feel like you were thinking differently?
I think like for instance, I did a video where like I was like, I want to be a tennis player, because I named it Grand Slam. So I want to be a tennis player, and then I want to be a coach, and I want to put on a fake mustache. I was so inspired by like the visual aspect of like trying to create the feeling of what that music felt like, and I I think it's just more of like a mature thing. Like I just want to like just like dial that back. I didn't really know who Wes Mills was in the beginning. To me, Wes Mills was like an alter ego, like something I wanted to be. Like
Yeah.
I'm Frankie. I wanted to like have
Yeah.
fun and allow Wes Mills to be something I just have fun with. But
Yeah.
I think over the years I've realized that like Wes is me, and I
Mm.
have to allow, like, if I want to be wacky, or if I want to do something that's a little different than someone else, like, dude, that's just you, and you're weird, and just embrace that, rather than trying
Yeah.
to let it be an alter ego. So
I see.
it's kind of like naturally been who I am. I've allowed it to be who I am now.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
almost like it. Well, I can see where some of your acting background has come into play here as well. Of being like, oh, like it kind of created a character in a way, and even
Hmm.
having some of these ideas, which I think is great to point out, is you also were not just thinking about the sound and the music, but also how do I want to visually present this, right? And even having a bit of a character, a bit of this idea, and these kind of fun, wild things that you wanted to do from a visual perspective as well. Which obviously, I think now, and at least anyone that's been listening to the podcast knows that that is just becoming more and more of an important part of somebody's project as we become more kind of social media driven. But you were already thinking about that kind of from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you're explaining, it definitely has evolved. I think as any brand does, it evolves just like we do as people. The things that we're into a couple years ago are going to change and shift to what we're into now. But did you have a pretty clear idea of the brand, like when you launched the project, as far as the visuals, kind of the idea behind it? Was that vision pretty clear for you from the beginning, or was it more of an organic evolution?
100% an organic evolution.
Mm.
I had no idea. I was making lo-fi music. My first release with Wes Mills was lo-fi, completely
Mm.
lo-fi. And then I remember releasing it and thinking to myself, like, why did I start making music? I started making music because I wanted to perform in front of people, and the only way to perform in front of people is to make dance music. And lo-fi, I'm never going to be able to be on a stage and perform lo-fi, even though I love lo-fi. So how can I combine the feeling that I love from lo-fi and try it and create it in a dance realm. And that's kind of how it started. I think in the beginning, it was my music was a lot more like grungier and yeah, it was very lo-fi influence. So
Yeah.
to answer your question, no, I didn't have a clear vision. Even like the characters, like it would be as simple as like, hey, Diane, can you come in the backyard and just like film me real quick? I'm thinking off the dome, like, okay, I'm gonna like do this, and then I'm gonna come over here and point on this angle. I think it'll be cool, like to mix it up. And then it
Yeah.
just kind of like naturally, just like okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
To where now, like I'm trying to create a world, a universe of that. Like even though it is me now, like I'm embracing like those characters, and I want it to be a part of like a story, and I want it to like move forward and create like a whole story of where it started and where it will continue to go,
Oh,
and just
wow.
the new characters that come and the new music. And yeah, it's like the vision's very clear now, but it took a
Yeah.
long time to get there.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of like you can only see, like when there's the metaphor that like when you're driving at night, you can only see a couple hundred yards ahead of you. You can't see the whole path. I don't know where the brand is going. I don't know where the rest of my life is going. I'm going to see what's the next step, and
Yeah.
that will eventually kind of lead me to seeing what's ahead from there. So we have to kind of trust the process in that sense. But yeah, man, it's so cool to hear because like I remember seeing your content, yeah, even a few years ago where I was like, oh, like he's doing some fun shit, like the dance, yeah, like you got some dance moves, you got a thing, and now one thing I love also is like you've also got a style, right? You've got a swag, you've kind of got some dance moves and some stage presence, and you've got the fun content. There's also like a very clear fashion style that you have found for yourself as well, which a great element of branding is consistency. It's like there is a consistency around it. It's a piece that I think a lot of DJs aren't really thinking about. Especially if you compare, that genre, which is sort of what I call kind of more the we're the new kids on the block as far as like mainstream genres. Dance music is obviously mainstream now, but before that, we had pop, rock, hip hop.
Right.
Hip hop rappers, they fucking care about fashion. They dress the part. A pop star, when they come out, like, yo, they're not wearing jeans and a t-shirt. They're coming out looking like the styling is super heavily focused. And it's sort of this element for a lot of, electronic music artists that hasn't really been a part of it. So it's just cool to see you like leaning into that, like, yo, like let me have a look and let me have some style and some swag and some fashion, which also is super aligned with your brand as far as like nostalgic kind of dance music too. So I think you've
That's
really
sick.
nailed
That's
it.
sick.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
I just like love like Adam Sandler and like Shia LaBeouf, and I always thought those guys were so cool. I remember like just looking at pictures and be like, dude, they're just wearing whatever they want to wear, and they're
yeah.
so cool. And it kind of went along with that. Like, yeah, I thought for a while like I just had to like dress apart for a DJ. It's like, no, let me just dress without how I want to dress. And I think obviously the '90s have a big inspiration in that. But yeah, Adam
Yeah.
Sandler. Shout out Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler is on the fashion mood board of
Correct.
inspiration. I love
Correct.
that, man. I love it, and it's so cool because that's authentically you. I think a lot of people are looking outside of themselves of like, oh, what's cool right now? What are other people wearing? What's happening in the scene or whatever, and basing their creative decisions off of that, as opposed to looking at like, yo, what do I like and what do I fuck with and what are my inspirations, dude? Also, yeah, shout out Adam Sandler, fucking top. I'm remembering now back to like Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore. Like I
Yeah.
was running around the house with the guitar, pretending like playing like Adam Sandler like Hanukkah songs when I was young too. Like, just, you know what I mean? So good, dude. So funny. So okay, so now as I said before, you just played Red Rocks, and
Yeah.
that's huge. That's massive. You're starting to kind of get out and tour and play shows. I saw that you're signed to UTA for your agency, so you have a team around you now. When did the
Yeah.
team start to come into place, and how did that happen?
As far as UTA,
As far as I'm assuming you have a manager as well.
I do.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm assuming the manager probably came before the agent, as
Yeah. It
as they
was
normally would. Yeah.
yeah, but new management that I'm with is fairly new. I did a few trials, and the only reason I want to say this is for anyone listening who's kind of looking for that or wanting to know about that. Like, I I think that like in the beginning you like really want a manager, and something that someone really close to me always told me was like that's something that you attract. That's not something that you search for. And so I think I did a few trial runs. Every trial run I did, I still respect and talk to everybody I did them with. But at the end of the day, it wasn't like it's just like a relationship. Sometimes when you break up with someone, it's just like not necessarily no hard feelings, just like maybe they don't get the vision or I don't get where they want to take the project, or maybe they didn't have time for the project at the time. But yeah, I think it's really important just to that, like I've been saying, like just really just focus on the music and being yourself, and that will naturally come. So I didn't really get a manager that like it's set in stone until about a year and a half ago. Um,
Hmm.
and
And what was
they
it about that management team that made you decide it was a yes?
it was just all things aligned.
Hmm.
Everything that I was saying to them, they understood, and they were excited about it, and they wanted to go help just launch it as far out as it could get to people. Obviously where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, they just really, really believed in the project, and I feel like they could make the moves that I needed to make right now to
Yeah.
go to the next level.
And what do you think those moves are for you?
I would honestly say that it's more so just alignment with the brand, more so alignment with the brand than like necessarily help. Obviously, they can help you speak to other labels or get connected with UTA. Like obviously, I didn't have connects with UTA, so but I was more referring to just like being aligned mainly.
Hmm. Hmm. But as far as yeah, just the next moves for someone at your stage to kind of get to whatever, there's levels, right? There's so
Yeah,
many different
yeah.
kind of levels to this career, and as you're looking forward to the next chapter, to the next level, and kind of strategizing with management, like what is the strategy for you to get to the next
I
level?
got you. I got you. I got
Yeah,
you. Yeah. So the strategy is I'm going to do a mini tour this summer, which I've
sick.
never done a headline show yet. So I'm really excited about that.
Hell yeah.
Um,
Are you coming to Austin?
I'm
We gonna
not.
get an Austin date in there?
I'm not.
Damn.
But I just was in
Dang. Why you
Austin. I
gotta why
wasn't.
you gotta do me like that,
I was in
bro?
Austin recently. I was in Austin recently.
Well, all right. Next time, hit me up, bro.
But
Cool.
yeah,
So
I
mini
think like
tour.
just okay, yeah, I think like we're trying to ride off of like you said like doing the Red Rock show. It's like okay, we got a lot of eyes on this. That's
Yeah.
just going. That's more so the answering your question, the strategy,
Yeah.
and then trying to build off the momentum and go
Yeah.
and do a
Because
headlining
it's
tour.
it's important, I think, especially for someone like yourself, where it's like there is this element of you want to show, and I guess I'd love to hear your perspective on this because I would think that it's kind of twofold. Where first and foremost, you want to show fans like, yo, this is what it looks like to come to a show. It's going to be hella fun, and we're going to jump up and down, and we're going to get wild and crazy, and this is the music you're going to listen to. Like, you've got a lot of good content. You've got that like 360 set that you did. That's you've got a lot of good footage from that on your Instagram. Where I'm like, I see that, and I'm like, I want to buy tickets to go to the show. That looks like a
Yeah,
really fun party to go to, and so it's important one to be showing the fans, that, and I imagine also kind of like to promoters as well, to on the other side of it, of like, hey, like this is, you want to book this guy, you want to hire this guy because we're doing, this is what it looks like at a Wes Mills party,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I think the content is big. Like that was like a chance we took on that 360 set, like because it's expensive realistically to get that kind of content. But it was like an investment that I think that paid off because that venue, first off, is incredible. Shout
Yeah,
out
where was that?
Box Pack in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Sick. Yeah, it looked like a dope show.
and and so I do feel like that kind of stuff really helps. It's like if you know something, is gonna look cool. I say invest and go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big piece. I mean, I've been having that conversation more and more on the podcast, and especially the more, artists that I talk to that are a little further along into the game, is they get it. It's like, especially in the beginning, reinvesting whatever you're making back into the project. It's like there's so much to, you can kind of just take your fee and be like, cool, I made some money this weekend, nice. But it's like, or you can just dump it all back into the project and be like, cool, how can we do a better, stage production? How can we get some extra pyro? How can we
Yeah.
hire the videographer and just, reinvest anything that we're making to continue to push the brand forward? It's the same really for any business, I
It
think
really is.
any business in any
It
industry
really
is like,
is.
cool, you're like, don't take 100% of those profits home and go buy a new car or whatever. It's like, take those profits, put it back into the business, and that's how you actually scale everything.
Yeah, and also just like kind of understanding where you are at the time too. I feel like that's important because obviously everybody sees high hopes for themselves and aspire to be something big and great. But you kind of got to like know where you are and piece, like you said, back into the project and invest, and that will slowly or quickly build it up.
Yeah, yeah. And something I want to, point out as well is you're working with UTA,
Yeah,
one of the probably top talent agency for electronic music in the game and in the scene. A lot of people are really so focused on social media content. How do I build my numbers and get my numbers up to a point that eventually an agency will be interested in me? But like, you have less than 10,000 followers still on Instagram, at least. I don't know what
yeah,
the
yeah,
rest of yours look like. So just to kind of point out of like, oh, it's not just about kind of vanity metrics, what we'll call them, right? Like,
yeah.
what do you think it is for you that's allowed you to have a booking agent with one of the best agencies in the industry while still having, what we might, no offense, might still consider kind of relatively low numbers compared to, there's other people that have 50,000 followers and like no agent,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I first of all, I'm very blessed to have that opportunity. I feel really, really, really blessed to have that opportunity. I think when I met with UTA, like the music was obviously like something we talked about because that's the most important thing. But we really just talked about the project, and they were really excited about who Wes Mills is, and they wanted to know what that looked like, where that came from, and they were really excited about what that could be. And that
Yeah.
was mainly like the initial conversation, which was flattering because like we said, it was like just always like a character to me and something I have fun with, but obviously that resonates with people and they see that. So yeah, I was really thankful to see that they were excited about it when we spoke. So it was more so a brand, like they really fell in love with the brand, and they're like, and the music aligns, and so this
Yeah.
just makes sense and we want to support this. So
So good, dude. So
yeah.
good because what we're really getting at here, I think a lot of people are like they're so focused on the numbers, right? Or they think that like agents only care about numbers, labels only care about numbers or whatever. And so everyone's so hyper focused on how do I get these numbers up? And it's like, no, wait a minute. Let's go back to like yeah, like is the product there? Are you making really good music? Are you making some shit that's like really got that feeling behind it? And do you have a vision? Do you have a vision for where this is going? Do you have a really clear identity as an artist?
Yeah.
And do you have that own level of conviction in yourself? Like, do you believe in it? Like if you have those three things of like, yo, I've got great music, I got a really strong idea of who I am and where I'm going, and I fucking believe in myself, you're getting signed, and it's not like how can I make content that's going to get as many eyeballs as I can and get my followers up, from this like kind of frantic hamster wheel that I think so many artists are on, right? So it's
Yeah,
just such a great proof of that great music, a good brand and vision, and just belief in yourself is going to be more attractive than somebody that just has some vanity metrics.
for sure, for sure. And it's tough because I feel like you are constantly on social media, and that's just a part of reality now, and it's a constant influx of just music, especially if you follow people. I just can go on my TikTok or Instagram, and I just see a lot of like trends and stuff like that, and I think that's what I've always tried to stay away from. Not saying at all that's bad, but I feel like that's what, like, I was always afraid of doing something, a video, and like it blowing up, and then like it was just a really cool video, but like there's no soul and heart behind that, and I never, like, I think that's why I personally tried to always stay away from that. But honestly, I've seen a lot of really successful projects, grow from that too. But social media is very, very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I'll put myself in the same category. I'm like, I don't even have 6,000 followers on Instagram yet, but dude, like not to pat my own back. I've been crushing it with my fucking business this last year. You know what I mean? Like I'm getting clients all the time, working with a ton of people, like making a huge impact, seeing people make massive leaps and transformations in their life and in their career. And I know other coaches where I'm like, that's yeah, you got tens of thousands of followers and like you're not even a full-time coach yet. You know what I mean? It's like it's not about the quality and or the quantity of all of those numbers. It's like what are you actually like doing with them? You know, if out of those, you know, I'd rather have 5,000 fans that are actual true fans. They're super engaged. They're super fans. They love you. They're going to buy tickets to your shows than have 100,000, you know, views. You know, I've had people that have gotten 1 million views on a TikTok before and got no new followers out of it. You know, like that's cool. You got eyeballs, but it's like that doesn't mean that they're fans. There's a big difference.
That's literally, you just took the words out of my mouth. I have to remind myself that all the time. Just like it's investing all around. I just feel like if it comes, it comes, and I'll be really thankful. But I'd rather like at the end of the day, like if music ends tomorrow, I could just be like, okay, cool. Like I just stuck with my guns and I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and
Fuck yeah.
I'm okay with that because at the end of the day, my identity is not in the Wes Mills project. My identity is just in who I am, and I just really enjoy making music, and I just want to be able to provide for my family and do what I love. Like that's simply all I want to do. So yeah.
Wow. Dude, I love that you just brought up the identity piece because I think that that's really huge, and I've seen it with bigger artists as you continue to grow. And you know, it's like there's you and then there's your artist project, and
Yeah.
sometimes those lines can be blurred where you know your whole life becomes about this project, and you even have a name where it's like people don't call you your real name anymore. Everyone's calling you, you know, it's like, okay, Wes Wes Mills, you know, like and you become Wes, and you kind of lose sight of reality, and it takes over, and it can be a really unhealthy place because if it's doing well then you're good and you're happy, but like, you know, then maybe the project's not doing well and now your whole life is in shambles. So I think it's really important to keep that degree of separation and just remember it's like, no, like you're Frankie, and this is a project. Like I have a project, you know, it's like, and so just remembering that like this is not you, it's not your life. It's like even saying it's like I am an artist, it's like I am a person that makes art. You know, there's a bit of a difference between that. You know, if my whole identity is wrapped up in this thing, it's kind of a dangerous place to be. So I love that you've created that distinction between you, because we see it all the time. You know, people that just get really lost and really lose themselves in it. And just remembering it's like, you know, this is just a project that I'm doing, and it takes me on adventures and it makes me money. But at the end of the day, like I know who I am as a person, as a human, first and foremost. And my life, this isn't 100% of my life. I think that's important.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So I want to know, for you, obviously, you've had such a great career so far, and the project has done, you know, really well so far, and also still, yeah, just getting warmed up, and it's getting really great momentum right now, and a lot of cool stuff is on the way. What would you say have been some of the biggest challenges that you've faced along the way so far?
I would say the biggest challenge would just be like time invested into the project, because I have been working a full-time job this whole entire time while doing this, and it's just tough sometimes to manage that, especially like, you know, being in a relationship like we talked about earlier, and really trying to be like, how can I be the best artist, how can I be the best provider, how can I be the best husband, and piecing that all together. And I know that's not, I know most of the people who are producing are younger, even girlfriend, how can I be the best boyfriend, but just like allocating time, that's been the biggest challenge to the project, and like utilizing that little time I have to try and yeah, fully utilize that time.
Yeah. So what does that look like for you? Are you doing like a 9 to 5 and then kind of working in the evenings on the project? What's your actual schedule look like, and where do you fit it in?
Realistically, my schedule, like I work Monday through Friday from usually like 7 to 7. I'm a UPS supervisor, so I manage like 120 drivers. So
Oh,
I
damn.
usually work like 10 to 12 hours every day, and come home, try and spend some time with the family, and then I usually start producing around like 10 or 11 until around like 2 or 3 in the morning and wake up and do it all over again. It's been a grind.
You work until 3 in the morning and then wake up, and then you start work at 7 in the morning?
Yeah.
So basically you don't sleep.
Yeah.
You sleep
Yeah.
3 hours a night.
Yeah. And then the weekends I just get caught up on sleep.
Wow.
Yeah, so like
Bro.
that's been my life since the end of Icon till literally like I think I decided 2 days ago that I'm gonna put my 2 weeks in and just fully send it.
Bro, first off, congratulations. That's a big decision to make. Yeah, and that it's that leap of faith moment, man. It's that leap of faith moment of like, all right, like getting all of that time. Imagine you're already doing what you're doing with like just this limited amount of time, and probably
Yeah.
not the most like fresh part of your day either. Imagine what you'll be able to do with that 10 hours a day to really put into it. I can only imagine what's possible, but it is that leap of faith moment that everybody has to take at some point.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's like, well, all right, we're gonna do this, but at the same time, like you just said it, like I'm realistically giving like 10 or 15% of myself to this, and even if I can give 50 to 80% to 100%, I just want to look back when I'm older and be able to say like I gave this thing all I got, and
Yeah,
like we
bro.
just talked about, like if it don't get there, then it don't
Yeah.
get there, and that's
Yeah.
okay. But like I'm gonna
And
I'm gonna shoot for the stars because I just want to be
yes.
able to like give it my all, and I want to be able to say I did that, and I'm young enough to be able to be like, all right, it didn't work. Let's just go do this now and go figure it out and do
Yeah,
something else.
UPS is always going to be there, bro. They're not going anywhere, you know?
No.
That's what I told
But
myself when I was 22 and just graduated college and decided to move to LA. I had a job at a financial advising firm right out of college, and I did it for like 2 months, and I was just like, you know what? It's like this. I'm like, this isn't what I want to do right now. Like I want to take a fucking leap of faith and send it and move to LA. And my whole thing was, I was like, if it doesn't work out, like the insurance industry is not going anywhere,
yeah,
none of that shit is going anywhere. Like I can go get a job really anytime that I want. If I decide I don't want to run my coaching business anymore, I'm like, okay, cool. There's 9,000 other fucking jobs I can go, normal jobs I can go get. So I love that, man. I'm so excited for you, and like
Thank
this is
you.
your moment, bro.
Yeah,
Go hit
thank
them,
you.
call
Thank
them
you.
today, dude. Call them today. Put the fucking notice in. Say, hey, I was just on the Headliner Mindset podcast, and you know what? I'm fucking ready. You guys got 2 more weeks of me. All right.
Yeah.
But here's the other point I want to point out. The other thing I want to point out is, because so many other people are in the same boat where they're working a 9 to 5, and it's a squeeze, and it's a grind, and it's tough, and it's like, damn, I get home at the end of the day and I don't have any energy, and it's like, okay, I just want to point out, like, all right, it's possible. Frankie's doing it. This is proof that like you can do it. There's something inside of you to tap into if you really want it that badly. And I guess you were doing it from the beginning too. You were driving to Icon at 10 o'clock at night, anyway, so you're not used to late night hours.
I didn't have a job while I was at Icon. I will say that I worked like a part-time job at a school district for a little while, and then I kind of had the same dilemma. I just like sat down. I was still living at home with my parents, and I was like, hey, I want to like give Icon my full, like I'm paying a lot of money to go here. Like I want to be able to like really like take it all in, and they were like, go for it. So yeah, like right at the end of COVID, that's when I started working with UPS. But honestly, like all I have to say to that is like the most important lesson that I've learned through that time till now is like no one feels sorry for you. No one like at the end of the day, like no one's gonna be like there for you or believe in you like you do, and like no one's gonna do it for you. So like if you want something, go get it. Like just go get it. And like it just like no one understands. You don't have to tell anyone like the hours you're working or anything. Just go do it, dude. Like no one wants to hear excuses. You just go get it. If you want something, it's right there. Like I fully have like held on to that tight. Like if I want to get out of UPS, then what do I got to do? I got to go and invest in myself, put the time in, and go get it. So
Yeah.
that's kind of been my mentality.
Now that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Headliner Mindset at its finest. In a nutshell, straight up, dude. So, fuck, man. Like I said, I'm so excited for you. I'm so proud of you to see what you've
Thank
done.
you.
Like you have been grinding and just so locked in and coming from a place of authenticity and just, I think, just doing it the right way, man. And so only big things are coming for you. I'm so excited, man. So definitely keep me posted. You better extend this mini tour into a full tour so that you can actually come to Austin so that I can see you. But if not this summer, I look forward to catching a set when the time comes.
Yes.
But thanks so much for hopping on, man. Like, what an awesome story and so much inspiring stuff in there.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me. And for everyone listening, Nik is the man. I appreciate you, bro.
Dude.
Appreciate you.
Talk soon.
Later.